Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Madrid Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. Jota. Super interesting show that we have today because we have a bunch of news. We have a bunch of names to talk about. We will be talking about Eden Hazard. We will be talking about Paul Pogba. Another update on Kylian Mbappe's future and his future contract with Real Madrid. But also, we will be talking about the very recent comment from Carlo Ancelotti regarding to Eden Hazard, which is going to be very juicy because this is something that we have to highlight and keep in mind because it will affect, no matter what, to the future of Eden Hazard in Real Madrid. And I'm talking about the near future. I mean, not in the long run. Okay, let me give you all a quick update. Tomorrow we are playing against Elche, another important game. I mean, we can't afford to keep missing chances to keep winning. And of course, if we want to top the standings, if we want to really be in the race for La Liga against apparently Real Sociedad, which in my opinion is the other, I would say the only team actually in Spain right now ready to compete for La Liga, we can't afford, like I said, to miss 2 other points or even 3 points or another defeat or something like that. Tomorrow is the kind of game we have to win no matter what. So after the draw against Osasuna, a very disappointing and frustrating game, there's no other way for us, man. We have to win tomorrow. And in order to do that, apparently Carlo Ancelotti is willing to get back and display the same midfield that he already displayed against Shakhtar Donetsk and FC Barcelona, which means that Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, and again Casemiro will be there. I mean, what is my opinion on that? It is something appropriate. It is the best thing Carlo Ancelotti can do, or on the other hand, he might try another route and keep staking for players like Camavinga, Marco Asensio, and all this stuff. What is my opinion? What is my take on that? Okay, let me tell you something. Although I think that these players are, maybe the most trustworthy and reliable players in Real Madrid right now, and of course, I'm very aware these players, they provide a lot of, security and order and tactical order and organization to the midfield of Real Madrid. If you want to do something different, you probably have to try something different. And I'm not talking about to leave the 3 players, the 3 of them, Casemiro, Luka Modric, and Kroos on the bench, but I'm talking about to mix a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to display to Casemiro, maybe Luka Modric, and now I'm going to put also Duke Camavinga alongside with him so he can be surrounded by a little bit of experience, because there's no point in line up 2 players like Camavinga, Fede Valverde, and Marco Asensio at a time, because they don't have any experience playing together. And of course, they will never provide the security and the tactical order Real Madrid really needs right now in the midfield. And the best proof of that, it is the last games against FC Barcelona and Shakhtar Donetsk, where we could see a much way better midfield and much more secure midfield in Real Madrid. And that allowed us to create a little bit more, to be more dangerous in attack, and of course, to avoid any kind of risk or any kind of big chance for the rivals in the defense. I mean, essentially, we are taking, in my opinion, so many, much less risks if we have 2 these players in the midfield than if we have 2 players like Camavinga, Marco Asensio, and all this stuff. So, I'm okay with that. I really understand if Carlo Ancelotti deploys again to players like Kroos and Modric and all the stuff. But I don't know, man. I'm not sure about the future, because what you can think is that these players will be playing in Real Madrid in 2045. They can keep playing forever. You know what I'm saying? So at some point soon, you probably have to find a way to replace these players, and it's better. Sooner than later is even better. So let's see what happens. But tomorrow, apparently, according to all the articles that I'm reading so far, I've been reading so far regarding to the game tomorrow, Carlo Ancelotti might say, okay, yeah, let's put these players and let's try not to take any risk, and let's try to get the 3 points, and much better if Luka Modric, Cruz, and Casemiro are on the field in the lineup. So now let's move on and let's talk about the news that came out from The Telegraph in UK, claiming or even confirming that Manchester United has already accepted the departure in summer of Paul Pogba. And it's even better because they are apparently accepting the departure of Paul Pogba for free. I mean, the plan is not to sell the player in winter, so that way Real Madrid would never be able to sign the player in winter, but in summer he will be leaving, or he will be free to negotiate with whoever he wants, including Real Madrid, for free, which is exactly the plan Real Madrid is looking for. Because if we have to pay any single transfer fee or something like that, we are not okay with that, and we are not going to spend a single euro in a player that might worth, I don't know, maybe about 60, 70 million euros or something like that. So I'm okay with that. And according to Telegraph, Paul Pogba is technically out of Manchester United, or at least is not in the plans for the future in Manchester United. They are sick and tired, and of course they are no longer, or they are not trying to renew the contract of Paul Pogba, which is of course very good news for Real Madrid. And now let's move on and let me talk about Kylian Mbappe, because he has spoken again with L'Equipe, and he has said something really interesting. I mean, he has said actually two things very interesting. The first one, it is he will participate in the Olympic Games in Paris 2024, which means that in the contract that he will sign for Real Madrid, there will be a clause that allows him to participate in these Olympic Games. And the reason for that, I mean, that is going to be one of the first conditions the player is going to put to Real Madrid for the future to sign the contract. That is the number one. But the number two, the second thing is the only reason why he wants to participate, he wants to be in the Olympic Games in Paris in 2024, it is because he couldn't participate in the Olympic Games last summer in Tokyo due to internal reasons of PSG. I mean, he essentially recognized that was Paris Saint-Germain the responsible for not letting go to the Olympic Games and play for the national team of France. And he was very upset, and the way he said that in L'Equipe, it was like, you know, in a very sad and very disappointed way, like these guys cut the grass underneath my feet. Literally, that is what he said. So, is that a problem for Real Madrid? Not at all. It's not going to be any problem for us to let Kylian Mbappe go and play in the Olympic Games. And the reason for that is, I mean, just think about it. We are letting all the players, right now, we are allowing all the players in Real Madrid to go and play with their national teams, right? So in all these international breaks going on from September all the way to November, Real Madrid hasn't put any single problem or condition to any player to take part in their national teams, games, or stuff like that. And some of these games are friendly games, are just friendly games, right? And sometimes they come back to Madrid completely injured, tired, or just sick, right? And even with that, we've never put any kind of condition or problem or something like that. So how can you imagine that we are going to put any kind of problem to Kylian Mbappe for participate in the Olympic Games, which is an event that is celebrated every 4 years, That wouldn't make any sense. Of course, we are not going to have any problem. But the good news is that he blasted again to Paris Saint-Germain for not letting him go to the Olympic Games, which is of course a very good news for Real Madrid, because we are still convinced that the relationship between Paris Saint-Germain and Kylian Mbappe is not better, and it is actually still, I mean, I'm not going to say bad, but of course it's not very optimal and a very optimal relationship, right? So to me, every single day that goes by is every single day that Kylian Mbappe is coming closer to Real Madrid. So I don't know, man. There's little else to be said. To me, Kylian Mbappe is getting closer every single day more to Real Madrid. And this statement, it is of course going in the same direction all the previous statements from Kylian Mbappe, which is of course a very good news. And now let's move on and let's talk about the last story that I have for you all, guys. And it's a very recent story because it's something that I read like 10 minutes ago. Because Carlo Ancelotti in the press conference has been asked about the possibility for Eden Hazard to quit and to leave Real Madrid next January, next winter market. The answer of Carlo Ancelotti will surprise you. He said, if a player, whoever it is, wants to leave, he has to. He has to leave. No matter who is that player, no matter what, no matter nothing, he has to go. So he's been pretty clear at this point. So all the rumors that we've been listening to over the last, 2 or 3 days or something like that the Premier League, there are a bunch of teams in the Premier League willing to sign Eden Hazard and all the stuff, are very true. And the departure of Eden Hazard is closer to happen than ever. I mean, we knew it up front. The third season for Eden Hazard, it was going to be the most important season for him, considering the prior 2 seasons, he couldn't do anything and he couldn't show anything. He didn't have the chance to show everybody that he's still a good player. He was all the time, again, struggling with multiple injuries. He couldn't go through. I mean, he's leaving behind right now all that tough process, but in my opinion, is not ready at all to show anything, and of course, is way far from the level required to play in Real Madrid. So there is no point in keeping the player in Real Madrid, and the best thing we can do is try to get rid of this player as soon as possible, because it's the best for us, it's the best for him, and it's the best for soccer. I mean, no more opportunities, because the problem right now is even worse, because Vinicius Jr. is skyrocketing right now. It is one of the most important players in Real Madrid, and it's going to be impossible for Eden Hazard to reverse the situation. So let's see what happens, but this has been a pretty interesting and juicy statement from Carlo Ancelotti. We'll see what kind of repercussions it has. So now let me know your thoughts about that. Just comment in the section below, and of course subscribe to my channel, Madrid Hub.